and welcome to our Lake Minnetonka tour. Lake Minnetonka is located 15 miles west-southwest of Minneapolis in Minnesota. It is the 10th largest lake in Minnesota, covering about 14,000 acres with more than 100 miles of shoreline. Lake Minnetonka was formed by glacial melting about 10,000 years ago, and just under 20 islands are suspended on the water, which accounts for the irregular shape of this lake. Some of the smaller islands are covered with dense forest, while the larger ones house bars, restaurants, and exclusive homes. Unsurprising, then, that Lake Minnetonka has become a popular tourist attraction, hosting activities such as kayaking, sailing, and fishing. Fed by several streams, this lake is one of the busiest lakes in Minnesota. It's also a meeting point between 16 interconnecting lakes that pass through the marshlands and islands in the area. The most significant streams are 6 Mile Creek and Minnehaha Creek. The lake is divided into two halves, with the upper lake in the west and the lower lake in the east. The average depth is about 30 feet, while the deepest point of Lake Minnetonka is 113 feet in Crystal Bay. During spring, the greenery irrigated by the lake blooms in force and accounts for the most beautiful views, making Lake Minnetonka a great picnic spot during the spring and summer. Trails around the lake make for some fantastic hiking and biking too. With its curious shape and speckling of islands, Lake Minnetonka is a gem for kayaking, paddle boating, pontooning, and sailing. On any bright day, spring through fall, you'll see hundreds of tourists and locals alike availing themselves of the opportunity to be closer to the water. Lake Minnetonka is more than large enough for you to cruise all day long in a boat and enjoy the beautiful view of the landscape that is a perfect blend of blues and greens, with the sun shimmering across that deep azure. The small forested islands in the lake provide the lushest green view. In this drone footage, you can see the never-ending marshes and dense canopy of trees amidst the lake. These stunning views truly enhance the boating experience, no matter your vessel. If you like, you can paddle the boats by yourself, or if you have the cash and a large party, rent out the ferry to enjoy a comprehensive voyage with tour guides pointing out the lake's best features. Many visitors rent out small boats and enjoy the experience of boating this calm lake while they absorb the scenery and the wildlife. It's also pretty safe for children, as the guides posted at frequent intervals offer advice and aid as needed, as well as info about the area. They're a good resource because it's a heck of a lot of ground to cover. Even if you explore one of the small islands, you still have about 20 square miles of unexplored grandeur remaining, which is great. If for some reason the spot you've been picnicking at becomes boring for you, you can scoot off to another island or explore the 30-plus channels of Lake Minnetonka. All of the islands offer some activities to visitors. If you travel along the shoreline on a fine day, you'll notice plenty of visitors, which means that it could get congested with boaters. If you want to avoid crowds, it's best to visit the lake on a weekday. Then you can book as many boats as you like. Anglers should seriously consider Lake Minnetonka for some great fishing, as it is home to most of Minnesota's native fish species, including the toothy but delicious walleye. Moreover, you can take a swim near the shore, as the water is pretty shallow. If you're planning to visit during the summer, you should take a dip to beat that Minnesota heat. You'll probably think it's not as fun to visit a lake during winter, but that's where Lake Minnetonka can surprise you. In winter, the lake freezes over entirely, with snow blanketing the ice, leaving visitors with the opportunity to enjoy winter recreational activities that are a huge part of Minnesota life and culture. If you're new to Minnesota as a concept, know the winters are cold. Very cold. So make sure you dress accordingly. When entirely frozen and under a layer of pure white snow, Lake Minnetonka is a perfect tourist spot for winter vacations. The snow-covered houses and hotels surrounding the lake make for the perfect postcard picture. Lake Minnetonka still enjoys huge amounts of tourists, even during these frigid winter months. During winters, the lush green view changes to an endless white blanket with no greenery in sight. This aerial view of Lake Minnetonka shows us that the islands which are built up almost blend perfectly with the snow-covered lake. It's honestly hard to figure out where the land ends and the lake begins. With this watery expanse now frozen solid, The islands merge with the lake, creating a vast and perfectly flat snow area for activities such as cross-country skiing, ice skating, ice hockey, ice fishing, and so on. And instead of boating between islands, you can just walk or even drive. If you plan to stay, there are plenty of hotels and guest houses to choose from. Lake Minnetonka becomes the #1 tourist attraction in Minnesota with such a vast snow-blanketed area during such cold weather. Earlier I mentioned ice fishing, and if you've never had the opportunity to drop a fishing line through the ice, Lake Minnetonka is the perfect spot for you to try it. During winter, Lake Minnetonka has ice fishing houses for rent that include Lake Minnetonka is a tourist spot all year round. Even during autumn, when the marshes and swamps dry out and the gorgeous greenery turns to browns and dirty yellows, this lake is still a hopping tourist spot. Now's the best time to explore the more human element around Lake Minnetonka by investigating the more well-developed islands, featuring luxurious hotels that you can book all year round. You can walk the streets to enjoy an old town vibe. Several of these islands have cute local shops, bars, and ice cream parlors to sample. As mentioned earlier, other lakes join Lake Minnetonka, allowing you to extend your expeditions. Lake Excelsior is by far the best when it comes to awesome autumn activities. You can visit the public parks, their own ice cream parlors, and don't forget to ride the steamboat Minnehaha. It's possible to travel by car, as a road connects the islands, making traveling from one island to another easy peasy. Exploring Lake Minnetonka via boat is a great way for seeing the shoreline or the islands from a distance, but traveling by car will allow you to better absorb the wilderness up close, as well as the prestige of the more exclusive neighborhoods, not to mention the breathtaking view of the lake. You can make many stops to enjoy the upscale lake towns such as Wayzata. You can also drive to Ferndale to see some of the fanciest homes in this area. Although the aerial view of the lake during autumn looks like it offers no activities, you'll have to explore the islands for much more fun. The surrounding area also has cinemas, shops, and drive-thrus, so you've got plenty to choose from when planning a trip. The water does get a bit foamy with algae during the autumn, but it's easy enough to ignore once you start appreciating the cornucopia of fall colours around you.